Hey, everybody. It's back with conversations with Amy, Silva instructor in Atlanta, and Ken, Silva instructor in Connecticut and Chicago. Today, we have a treat for you. We would like to explore why people give up too easily. Can you relate? Why in the world, when somebody's working toward an aspiration, a goal, scaling their business, improving their relationship, taking off a little bit of weight, having a good daily meditation practice, etc., all the things that we know we ought to be doing, but we don't feel like it? Or how about why is it that people will invest time and money into a personal development training, a coursework, whatever it is, whether it be 4 days, 5 days, a whole week, and then they stay with it a few days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month, and then invariably, I'm being straight with you. I'm really transparent because I've witnessed this in my nearly 55 years doing this work for the Silva Method. And it does sadden me at times because it's a shame. It's an incredible set of tools, and all it takes is making it a habit. So Amy and I want to explore, and if I may, Amy, I'll kick off, and then you'll jump in again, and we'll build on that. And then we'll do our best to give you some solutions,
Absolutely.
things you can begin to do, at least simple things right now. First, explore what are some of the causes? What's behind why people give up prematurely, or they just don't give themselves enough time? One is people have unrealistic expectations. They're expecting a quick fix. They're expecting poof. Doesn't work like that. Life can be very challenging, even very difficult at times. But you have unlimited human potential. You're far more than you know or realize. All it takes is having that self-awareness, having the skill set, which takes training, the right training, and then applying it. A couple of big reasons that come to mind for me is lack of focusing on the benefits. How is it going to when you achieve this goal? How is it going to benefit you in your life? Not just say, "Oh, I'll feel good." Be specific. What will it mean? How will you be able to live? How will you feel? What will you be able to do? What about your health? What about your relationships? How will it benefit others, people you care about? That's a big motivator. All the studies in high performance have shown that one reason why people stop doing the very things they need to do is because they are not focusing on the intrinsic and extrinsic benefits, benefits for you, benefits for others. Another one might be we're in fear mode, desperation. We're not releasing the stress hormones on a daily basis. There are things you need to do for that, whether it be meditation, going for a walk, taking a bath, listening to music, etc. Lack of confidence. And I know Amy wants to go into this a little bit, proximity. The people in our lives have a big influence on us.
If we're learning something new and it's brand new to us and we're excited about it, and we look at both the intrinsic and extrinsic value, we know why we want it. We come home from a class, we're super excited, and we have upgraded ourselves. We have raised our vibration, and now we're returning to the environment we live in with people we love, with friends we love, who did not experience everything that we just experienced. And so it can be a little bit challenging for them to understand your experience, especially if they're not there yet. We all have different levels of growth, and something you may be experiencing, they may not be ready for. And it can seem like you have learned something new, you want to apply it, you want to do it, and the support structure that you're hoping to be there isn't there. Not because the support doesn't want to be there. It's just you're at a different space. So you really need to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. That may mean making new friends, doing new things, working on new things, and really looking at what is surrounding you and what do you need in order to feel supported to continue this new skill, this new practice?
Wow. Amy, you remind me, just a quick little shout out to you and our fellow instructors throughout the U.S. here. We have global instructors all over the world. If I just focus here in the U.S. for a moment, is many of them, almost all,
All of
facilitate
them.
graduate workshops. Excuse me, graduate practice groups.
Yes.
Free, complimentary. It's part of the added value, and it really makes a difference. You have the opportunity. We do them virtually, and you have the opportunity to connect with other like-minded people. Sometimes people then exchange phone numbers, and they connect. I call it the buddy system. Cannot overemphasize, Amy. You bring up such that point by itself is probably the number one reason why people give up and let go, because some of our family and friends, they love us, but they ridicule us or they don't know better. Oh, come on, Amy. Did you drink the Kool-Aid? What are you doing? And by our very nature, it's basic Maslow. We like to belong. We like to be accepted. They're saying the people you spend most of your time with, you become just like them. Now, with our family, that doesn't mean we abandon our family, especially if they're not very supportive, but it does mean we find and create a network and connect with at least one other like-minded person that we can turn to, we can talk to. As fellow instructors, Amy and I joke when we get on the phone or talking, before we started doing this recording, we spoke for about an hour going over things. But it's getting ideas or something she learned, something, oh, yeah. And it helps us refine practice. We're bouncing ideas. Very important, guys. I would like to add something else here, too, as part of a solution. Another thing is we're creatures of habit. And we all have a reticular activating system, the RAS. So we see everything goes through these filters. We have a certain point of view, a viewpoint of ourselves, self-image, the way we feel about ourselves, which is another topic we cover in the immersion. And then in Mastery, the graduate advanced program for grads of the immersion and the basic series, where we go deep into that, it's very important that we build that. So one way is, you heard the expression, where attention goes, energy flows. If we're only thinking about what's not working, what we didn't get, or the screw up or the mess up, which happens to all of us, we're inadvertently mentally rehearsing that, giving energy to it. So we need to be truthful, acknowledge that, and then keep mindful of what our intention is, what our goal is, what we're working toward. Be really clear about that. So how do you make that a habit? And a couple of things. I was listening to a recent podcast, and I never heard of the guy, Charles Duhigg. And Charles Duhigg, he's a best-selling author. He's a scientist. It slipped my mind whether he's a neuroscientist, he might be, and or a psychologist, but the guy makes good sense. And he talked about a term I never heard, creating keystone habits. And you've heard these before, just his framework of how he's doing that. That when people, all the research shows, what I liked about it is he's looking at research, evidence-based studies, that when people have these three basic keystone habits locked in their lives, everything changes. So if you've been looking to have a meditation practice and you're only doing it once a week, once a month, you're not going to get the value and the benefits. Daily, 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's the difference. That will make the difference. Amy and I both have seen our students, when they do the inner work and make the time, you get the results. So it's getting to the point where, because it's new, many people, I never had a meditation practice, now I do. So it takes creating a habit in a way that you go on autopilot. So the three, just briefly, is exercise. We all know that. Have the value of a 20-minute walk. Or how about dancing to the oldies? And if you want, when nobody's around, dancing, jack up the music or any way you like, and dance any way you want. Because we all have those funny, goofy moves that our children, I love to embarrass my children when we're at a wedding or something, or if I go out and do my goofy moves or something. But when you're alone, you don't have any critics. But it releases the steam, or listening to some great music. Second one is having a morning routine. I have a morning routine. It's 2-3 hours. People laugh. What do you do? But it establishes these keystone habits set the day. And having a morning routine set your day, and they help you to install any other habit. So part of your morning routine may be You want to avoid running to your phone first thing, avoid having caffeine first thing, avoid going to the TV first thing, the news. Read a good book, read some inspiration, hug a friend, do some exercise, meditate ideally, read some beautiful poetry or something, something that has a positive influence that helps you to normalize and set the brain, even though you've been sleeping. So those morning routines. So if you have a cue, the routine you want, a cue to the routine, a reminder. Some people who know they want to exercise will keep their gym clothes and their sneakers right by the bed. So first thing when they get up, they see them and they're reminded, okay, time to exercise. You can set reminders on your phone, different ways, cues to remind you. And then a reward. When you do that, reward yourself. High five yourself virtually. Pat yourself on the back. It doesn't mean you have to go out and have a hot fudge sundae, although that's not always a bad thing. But treat yourself with respect. I know whenever we do a class, I facilitate an immersion 4 days. Barbara, my wife, and I, we go out rather than cook, prepare, and we go to a favorite restaurant and we pick different ones and celebrate the occasion. And just celebrate that we made a difference, that we contributed, that we did what we did because we like rewards. You got to set it up and give yourself a reward. Maybe you took off 5, 10 pounds, so go get that new outfit you've been eyeballing in that new size. Get the idea, a cue to remind you of the routine, whatever that routine is, and then a reward. And third, track it. You got to track your progress. Very important that you pay attention and say, yes, I nailed it. Or yes, I made 5% progress. 5% is not much, I agree, but it's still progress. The more you appreciate and feel gratitude for what you have, the more you'll have. The more you appreciate any progress you've made in your sales, in improving your relationship, in scaling up, in managing your health and your fitness, the easier it becomes. You're thinking big and starting small, building your confidence.
Yes. When you have a cue to remember an association with, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is why I'm doing it. Really thinking about the why behind your doing it. And if you have those moments of, I'm not going to do it today, then think of the contrast of how you are feeling when you do it. So that celebration afterwards that you mentioned versus how you're going to feel if you're not going to do it. Looking at those contrasts makes an impression. And every time we are celebrating that progress, I tell my students, any progress you make, doesn't matter how big, medium, small, whatever it is, if you need someone to celebrate with you, I'm here. Because when we're celebrating, we're acknowledging it, we're making an impression, we're saying, hey, we're doing it. And we're building that confidence that we're doing it. And it's important that we do it because when we're doing something new, when we're creating a new habit, just think of how long we have to do it in order for it to become muscle memory. If we're changing that pattern, it actually takes our brains more time. It requires more physical resources of our brains to create this new pattern. Our brains sometimes take the easy way out. That survival security part of our brain says, come on, friend, didn't you like it better when we were sitting in front of the television instead of going out and putting on our tennis shoes and walking? That's really hard. That takes a lot because it's a new pattern. When going gets tough, we revert to old patterns. We have to give ourselves grace and patience. Sometimes we have a tendency to be really hard on ourselves. If a friend or a child in your life came to you being really hard on themselves, what would you say to them? You would say, hey, you got this. You just started, or it was just one day. Keep going. Look at how far you've come. When we speak to ourselves in a way that we would cheer on a friend or help that child in our life, we are really allowing for that surrender and allowing that new habit to take root. So, really important.
I think it's you, Jamie, that you covered that. We need self-compassion, is what I hear you saying. Couldn't agree more with that self-compassion and be self-forgiving. Hey, tell the truth. I messed up. I made a mistake. I can do better. When I've had my share of mess ups, I forgive myself.
Do
I give myself permission not to be perfect. And then what do I prefer? Reframe it. So you're reviewing what you did, not necessarily living, but reviewing, you're rewinding to the occasion, the time frame, reviewing, excuse me, and then reframe it. So you mentally rehearse it as if that's how you had acted. It's a brilliant thing that I love to teach in actually in all my courses and working with grads. Huge point. Second is there's a lot of myths, and too often people are being seduced by the promise of quick fix. And I think you're watching this video and you're still here with us. You're probably not one of those people because there ain't no quick fix. If there were, we'd all be there. We'd be first online with that. And the jury is out, so to speak. But one thing I know for sure from a science-based neuroscience, habits need time, repetition. You get immersed in the habit, the routine, repetition, and implementation. That's what leads to mastery of anything. I call it a 90-day support plan in all my Silva classes that I offer people. You don't just get this class. For the next 90 days, I'm going to offer you all sorts of support tools and guide you, some of them one-on-one with me coaching after the fact, all part of the deal, because it can take anywhere from 30 to 90 days, I know for sure, to go on autopilot. And once you are, you just live it. Meditation's a part of my day. Walking every day is a part. I don't think about it. And when I don't do it, there's reminders. It's something that's a part of it. I eat breakfast in the morning, another important cue to feed ourselves, to nourish ourselves, to get our blood sugar stable by having a good, healthy, wholesome breakfast, not Dunkin' Donuts. The donuts are delicious, or you get the idea, guys, for that. The other thing, Amy, you had said something before that has to do with helping to establish these keystone habits about making the bed and things. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. When we were talking before we started recording, we were talking about morning routine. And one of the things that has come up over and over again, it's actually one of the habits that my husband does it, makes the bed in the morning. It's the one thing he does. And it's not the only thing he does a lot, actually. But in regards to making the bed in the morning, there's also lots of YouTube videos out there. If you do one thing in the morning, make your bed. One of the reasons behind that is because you're clearing up the clutter. If you go back into your room and see a messy bed or room, that's what you have externally, you're going to feel internally, right? So when you make the bed in the morning, you've already accomplished something. Especially if you don't normally make your bed. If you start that one thing over and over again, it will become habit. It will also make you feel organized because your bed is nice and organized and it sets up the day. It's a physical cue of a morning routine, right? You can have physical cues in your morning routine, mental parts of your morning routine, a meditation habit, a prayer habit, journaling, whatever it is, where you're setting up that day. It's like recharging your phone. We do it because we have to, or we can't communicate. If you had important calls to make, you're most likely going to put your phone on charge so that it is recharged, ready to go. You've set it up for success. We want to do the same for ourselves, for our bodies, and for our minds. Eating nutritiously, having an exercise rhythm. I don't necessarily like the word routine. I like rhythm. So you can reframe it however you want. By having those, we set ourselves up for success. So those hard, challenging things that we're working on or may encounter during the day, we're not already in a state of stress to deal with them. We're already in a state of relaxation so that when we do have that stress, we can handle it.
Oh, Amy, I'm here reflecting, laughing, because for the holiday we had a lot of people staying over, so I made the bed with the comfort of throw pillows, the whole bit, jump
I'm
for
gonna hit
that.
you a high five on that one.
And I don't usually do that either. And Barbara, my wife, thanked me, and she was really appreciative. Listening to somebody talking about making the bed, it got me. I've been making it every morning, and I do, even though I have a morning routine that's very helpful. The point is, our brains like structure. That's one of the reasons why I've often said in the class, listening to people talk about structure and value, the Silva Method, the program that Mr. Jose Silva created after 22 years, it goes back to 66, we started, is very structured. It's more structured than any of the personal development programs out there. And that's part of the brilliance behind it, why it works. The brain needs that because there is misery with certainty because it's uncomfortable when we're going to make a change. Misery with certainty is much more comfortable than misery due to uncertainty. The uncertainty, and even though it's something positive, it's why people give up also, because even though it's positive, yeah, I want to be better. I want to be slimmer. I want to have a bigger business. I want to have a more loving. We don't know how the heck we're going to get there. And that's why self-awareness is a key. So when we're consciously attuned to that, we can be more self-compassionate. And the last message would be focus on the progress and track it, reward yourself with that. That's what instills when you have that confidence because of the competence you're developing, it'll give you more courage to do more, to apply more. And then you make a little more progress. That will give you a little more confidence, which will give you more competence, which gives you more courage to do a little bit more. Some people call it the confidence competence loop. I think I first heard Brendan Bouchard put it that way, frame it that way. So, my friends, you're far better than you realize. You have this. It's just a matter of having that. And what Amy was saying before about the self-love, self-compassion, and not beating ourselves up, so important. So, appreciate you being here. And until the next
Me
time.
too. Thanks, everybody.
And until next time.